Hey, good evening, everyone. It's Rick here on the night of the 26th August. Late summer, beautiful day. Been a very good week. Thank God for this week. Now the weekend is upon us, and we got a 4-day coming next weekend for people in the military and government for Labor Day weekend. So as August comes to a close, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about something that I see that is kind of disturbing. It's kind of like a willful ignorance. It doesn't mean anybody's bad or anything like that, but it has to be cleared up. I see a lot of this in the last week. As we know, current administration, I'm not trying to cut anybody down or be negative here. I'm just telling it as it is talking about, a good number of portion of student debt being forgiven. Not all of it, but a certain amount. This is going to have a lot of people going to be affected by this. It's going to go into the millions of dollars, obviously, if you count all different loans from all around the country. And on the surface, it sounds like it's a nice thing to do, right? Or a Christian thing to do. Sounds like that. I'm here to tell you it's neither. It's not prudent. It's extremely dangerous. And it's not Christian at all. What it is an ability to try to get votes, because it's not doing anybody in any justice. Okay, let's delve into why that is. What's so bad about, forgiving a certain amount of debt? After all, these kids have a lot of debt and there's bills and things. Okay, well, first of all, they're not the only ones, number one, okay? All the generations before them had debt and had to pay it off. Okay, or incur terrible credit. They had to accept their responsibility. That's number one. Okay, you're going to school. There's going to be a certain amount of debt. You know that. Okay, you're not 10 years old. You're old enough for reason. And you're going to have to somehow pay that off. There's different ways to do it. There's paying it off. You can join the military. I'll get into that a little bit, and they'll help pay your loans. Certain companies, depending on what you get into, nursing or whatever, will do the same. Amazon, things like that. Okay. So, it's a sense of responsibility. You're not the first ones that have had loans. Okay. And now we're going to come on and say, we're just going to forgive this. A lot of these government loans. Well, I'm here to tell you something. That's fact that has never changed, and it never will. For good or bad. When the government gives you something, don't ever think it's a gift. If you don't think the government's going to get back what they gave you, then you are living in Never Never Land. The government will never give you something for free. Never. Somebody somewhere pays for it. This mentality that we're just going to forgive these kids and give them a break and it just goes away is extremely ignorant and extremely false, because it's not true. It's never been true, and it's never going to be true. You know who will pay for that? I'll tell you who. Increased taxes, increased tuition for the future students, people who shouldn't be paying for it, or people like myself and you and others who work that have no debt are going to be suffering for taxes. That's who will pay for it. Including those people that some of them are forgiven because they're going to go in the workforce and they're going to have to pay through taxes. Nothing's for nothing. People, in many cases, will pay for that with taxes that had their own student debt years ago and made provisions to pay it off. And now they're going to be saddled with increased taxes because that's what's going to happen. If you think this government debt is just going to go away in some magic fairyland, you just wave a wand, it goes away. That never happens. Let me give you examples. I'm in the military. I've been in over 38 years in whatever capacities I've been in. That's a long time. I'm a relic. Okay, I get it. I'm old. I get it. But I've seen things. Now, luckily, knock on wood, with a little bit of prudence and luck, I've never had any financial problems in the military. With my pay, I've never owed money or anything like that. But I know a lot of people have. And I'm not saying it's their fault. Many times it's not. Sometimes people are people, government employees, they'll overpay because you move around a lot in the military. You go from one base to the other, and something you get bonuses and different ways to get paid. So a lot of times the government sometimes they'll underpay you, and you can get that back eventually. And sometimes it takes a while. You'll always get it back, but sometimes they'll overpay you. I mean, a lot of times people kind of forget about it, or they think, oh, I put one over in the government. Oh, the government didn't think about it. A couple of years go by. They forgot about it. No, they won't. I've seen somebody after 5 years owe well over $100,000. I saw that in my career. Thought it was, they're not going to catch up. They owe 5 years. Sometimes, depending on what you pay, your status of pay, some of it's tax-free. Depending on allotments, some of it's not. I've seen it both. I've seen people where they're given a certain sum of money they weren't supposed to get after taxes. I'll give you an example. Let's say 50 grand, and they wind up getting like 35 after taxes. Let's just say extra money. When it comes time to pay that back, they have to pay all the 50 grand back. In other words, they have to pay everything with the taxes. The government never will forget. Okay, never. And because the military is part of the government. These government loans, it's not going to go away. The government's going to get theirs. And the poor taxpayers who do their prudence, the workers, are going to suffer for this, which is going to cripple our economy even more. You can't just do that. You can't just wipe out millions of dollars of debt and say, oh, it's all forgotten. Merlin the magician or something like that. It doesn't go like that. Okay? Use the military again for example. Yeah, they say, oh, the military can go in and they'll forgive your loans. Not for nothing. You have to give time for that. I believe like they could pay off your medical bills. You have to go like 5-6 years of your time. You're granted they pay you, but you have to do that, which you probably could make more money on the outside. But they're forgiving your loans. You owe them that time. And if you don't give them all that time, you get out early, fine. You got to pay that money back. Oh, yes. It's not a freebie. You sign a contract. We'll pay, but you owe us so much time. And if you think you're going to get away with it, the government will come after you forever. If you retire from the military, they'll take money out, a lot of it until you pay it off. If you get out totally and don't have retirement, you're going to go after your income tax check. They will get their money back. You can't hide. If they're going to give you something, in this case, loan forgiveness, okay, you're going to have to give them the amount of time they want, or else you get nothing. You pay it all back. Even companies, a lot of companies, okay, depending on the programs, they'll help you with debt, but you have to give them so much time. You sign contracts. That's not free. Okay, you're getting something. Is a give and get. This is not about this. This is just a freebie. No responsibility. Oh, you can just, as if they're the only ones in the world that have had debt. Somebody say, well, that's a Christian thing to do. No, the Bible says about forgiving debt, parables. It doesn't mean that. It's about personal debt. Okay, if somebody owes me $200 or $500, and I have enough money, and I want to be a good Samaritan, I say, hey, buddy, my friend, whatever, you don't have to pay that back. Nobody gets it. It's not like I'm saying you owe me $500. Here's what we're doing now. The Bible talks about, if you can forgive your brother, that's fine. And in my life, I'm not a rich man, but I've done pretty well in my life. Anybody who's ever wanted to borrow money, if I can do it, I've never asked for it back, because I know that I can afford to give it, whether it's $200 here, $300 there, whatever, and that person can't afford it, and they're probably not going to be able to, so don't worry about it. But that's just between me and him. I'm not saying, well, you owe me $500, forget about it. You don't have to pay it. But these other 10 people are going to pay $50 a piece in taxes and pay off that $500. See, that's what we're doing here. It's not just between, oh, the government says you're forgiven of this amount of debt. That's it. No, other people have to pay it. And that's what's not Christian, and that's what's not fair, and that's what's not any sense of responsibility. It's not going away. It's just being shifted in a different way over time, which is going to be paid through taxes, higher tuitions. We see it now. In less than 2 years, we've seen this mentality of freebies, raise wages, this and that. annihilating. We had the highest inflation we've had since 1980. Prices of everything have skyrocketed. Do I have to sit there and say it again? It's common sense. Now we have some people, colleges, saying they want everybody to make no less than $80,000 a year. I just read that. I said one time last year, why don't we just make it $100,000 a year? You want everybody no less than $80,000 a year. And guess what? You'll be paying $20 for McDonald's cheeseburger. That's ridiculous. You just the value that you'll be paying ridiculous. You go out to eat, it'll be $150 just to go out to eat at a regular Outback Steakhouse with no drinks. You think you can do that? You can just raise money and give freebies and things and no ramifications. Look what's happening in the last 2 years to our economy. Look at the prices of everything. You think that just forgiving millions of dollars of student loan debts is just going to just poof in the air and go away with no ramifications? You got to be kidding me. Those of you who work, me, other people who earn income, pay taxes, are going to pay for that over a long stretch of time, and then you'll be pissed off. But it'll be too late. All right? This is not being mean. These are people who incur the debt, like many other people have done in the past. This is nothing new. And the people in the past had to pay that, or else suffer ramifications, bad credit, whatever. It's called responsibility. You want to go to college, you have to take out a loan, you got to pay it back. It's called responsibility. Okay? This is nothing new. Okay? Doing this, trying to appear like it's a good Samaritan, is political, whether you want to believe it or not. And all it's going to do is continue to tank the economy. So this is not being mean. This is not being, careless. No, it's the opposite. It's looking at the reality of what's going to happen. The government is not giving it's not going to just go away and forgive millions of dollars and not get its money back. That is never going to happen. It never has, and it never will. And that's reality. Sad as it is, I'm here to tell you, a man who's been affiliated with the government for over 38 years, it's reality. Rick here on 26 August. Have a great night. God bless.